As a young kid, I definitely had a couple of run-ins with the referees and other teams when I was a young kid. So
doing what? Like, what's a run-in with the referee? Like mouthing off?
I actually did try to fight a referee off ice when I was like
trying to fight him.
Oh yeah, when I was like 14. So I got kicked out of the game with a game misconduct. Then I tried to fight him in their locker rooms or something. It was
so
it
off
was crazy.
the ice. So you got into like.
Oh yeah.
Bolts Nation, welcome into another episode of the Bolts Block Party, powered by our awesome friends at Highlight IPA. I am Wolfie, joined by Kobe, and I'm so excited we finally got this guy on the Block Party, coming in after an amazing game last night. But let's get right to it. Zemgus Girgensons is here with us, finally jumps on the Block Party. I'm curious of the nickname myself. I wrote a whole list of them. I don't know if any of these are right. Can I shoot some at you and see if you've been called any of them? Gus, Gergsy, Zemmer, Z, Gusto.
Z, Gergs are the main two.
Z and Gergs.
Yeah, then close family Zem. My wife calls me Zem. So
okay.
yeah.
Are we get to call him Zem? Are we family here?
No, we're on like
Z.
we can't even go.
That's
Z.
that's
we
the
gotta call him
softer
Zed.
side.
We gotta call him Zed, the Canadian Z.
Canadian Z. Listen, obviously, let's just talk real quick. I mean, last night, we're not sure when this particular Block Party episode will air, maybe in another week or so, but we're not sure. But let's just talk about the milestone for you last night. You finally get on the board as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. You get an assist last night off of Mikey's goal, which actually hits you at the 100 mark, which puts you as the fourth Latvian player in NHL history to reach that mark. So congratulations to you. Does it feel good to finally get one on the board as a Bolt?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely was a tough stretch there on the point column, but I think our line's been playing pretty well. It's just we didn't get the bounces, and it's definitely nice always to get that. It was just
get it off your
chest. Get it off the chest.
Like,
you know,
sometimes the offense, just for whatever reason, is just not going that way. But it's not like you guys were playing bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
You guys have been fantastic. Your line, the energy you guys bring, the role you guys play has been really good. So like when stuff like that is going on, and you know, obviously everybody wants to contribute offensively, but you're contributing in other ways. How do you just stay positive through that whole thing?
I mean, it definitely helps that I played as long as I have so far. I mean, if I was younger, that definitely would creep in the head a little bit more.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely never easy when you see those zeros across the board. But yeah, you just gotta stay positive and do the right thing still. You know, you don't want to start cheating the game or doing some other stuff. You just keep the right way of playing, and eventually it will come.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he brought up how long he's been playing, because he's one of the guys that I played against, and
going way back now.
Always a hard-nosed guy. Like you came into the league with Buffalo. You're 14th overall. You're just a hard-nosed guy. Where does that come from? Like, how did you develop that style? Is that something that was always in you, or early on were you a goal scorer, or did you always kind of have that grit to your game?
Yeah, definitely younger. I had a bit of an edge as a young kid. I definitely had a couple of run-ins with the referees and other teams when I was a young kid. So
doing what? Like, what's a run-in with the referee? Like mouthing off?
I actually did try to fight a referee off ice when I was like
trying to fight him.
Oh yeah, when I was like 14. So I got kicked out of the game with a game misconduct. Then I tried to fight him in their locker rooms or something. It was
off
crazy.
Yeah, so you got into like.
Oh yeah.
No way.
So yeah,
cocky kid. I love
so
it.
So I definitely had an edge growing up, but then going to juniors, I think my coach in Dubuque was Jim Montgomery, and he's kind of hard-nosed guy, and he kind of pushed that game of style into me, that two-way type of gritty play.
You let's revoke. I mean, because obviously I want to go back.
We don't want to go to Dubuque yet. We want to go right to the beginning.
Yeah, let's go back. You mentioned 14th overall in the 2012 draft by Buffalo. No Latvian player was ever selected higher than you. You were 16 spots higher than the previous highest selection. Do you know who that was?
Yeah,
of course you do. So again, 600 career games you had last season with Buffalo. You played that very first game in the 2013-14 season. But your journey going back to youth hockey in Latvia, like how did you end up here in North America back in 2009? And obviously we're going to talk about your dad too, and like his development as a coach over in Asia, which I think is fascinating. But Talk to us about the youth hockey and growing up in Latvia and what that scene was like for you.
No, it was great. I mean, we have a small country. Hockey's definitely the number one sport. So growing up, there were just a bunch of teams. I played for one team where all teams are close by, so you don't have to travel too much. You just play each other throughout the year, and I had pretty much the same team my whole life.
And
Same buddies the whole time.
Like the whole
Yeah, I mean, it was the same guys. We were together from since we were little till 14, 15.
I think a lot of people are surprised to hear that Latvian like number one sport in Latvia is hockey, and some people
100%.
don't know that.
Someone might disagree back home, but I think it is definitely hockey.
From experience from being at World Championships, your fans travel like amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You go to a game and it could be Latvia versus, let's say, like Czech Republic or Germany or even Canada. Like it is 90% Latvian fans, and they're
diehard.
bonkers. They're going crazy.
Well, I think that was proven too in 2015 with the All-Star voting, right? Remember where you were voted, like the whole country voted for you. I actually pulled the numbers from that 2015 All-Star game in the voting, and the closest player vote to you was Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks, who had 1.2 million votes. You had 1.5 million votes. So over 300,000 votes more than Kane, Toes, Keith Crawford. I mean, it looks like obviously the entire Blackhawks contingency, and Zemgus is at the top. That's an attribute, though, to the fans and how much they wanted you to be in this game and voted for you. Like literally the whole country supported you, but you didn't feel that you should have been there, correct? Like you felt.
No, definitely. It was a definitely odd situation, but I mean, I had to go. But I mean, yeah, it was cool to see like the fans being behind it, and I think I was probably the only Latvian player playing at the time. So I mean, it's definitely cool. But yeah, definitely, I felt out of place when I went there.
I mean, but again,
it's pretty cool.
It's
really
pretty cool
and,
that they voted on you.
And you, like I said, like I think the fans in Buffalo realize and really appreciate you. The fans in Latvia appreciate you, just what you brought to the team. You know, it's like we said, it's not necessarily always just points on the board, but you brought something else to the team that was just so valuable. But let's get, I know Greg kind of mentioned it before, but you got into the game because of your dad. Your dad was a former professional hockey player.
Yeah, he got injured when he was early age, and then he gave it to a buddy. He was at a decent level.
So playing like what? Like are we talking Latvia in the 70s?
I think back then it was the Russian league. So yeah. I think he was like the second league. He played with some Russian, he played with some good players.
I was gonna say, like I've seen a lot of training videos of these like Russians training back in the day. Like is he pretty hard nosed guy or
no, he's not like that. He's a regular dad.
Yeah, regular dad.
A regular dad who's Latvian, but he speaks fluent Japanese because your dad he did play as a defenseman for RTU Hansa Riga. Is that right?
Yeah, I feel like that would be. To be honest, you would have to ask him. I don't even know the team's names, but after he played like at an early age, then he went on just playing kind of half amateur back home.
But he instilled that like love of hockey into you, right? Like that was just was your coach growing up.
Yeah, I mean he was always behind the bench on our team, so he was always there, and he still played like it wasn't beer league, but it was.
Sure.
Half kind of amateur. So like he still played it. I mean, I went to every game as a kid, and I was at the rink all the time.
So he is the GM of the East Hokkaido Cranes of the Asia League Ice Hockey, and he won the All Japan Championship back in 2020. What made your dad want to go over to Asia and be a part of the Asian Hockey League?
I think he just loves hockey, and he never done anything like it, and opportunity came, and he kind of just jumped on it.
Does he speak fluent Japanese?
I don't think so. I don't. Maybe a couple words.
Have you been over to?
I was gonna say, no, I never been.
What's he?
I mean, it was the seasons were the same as us. He's done with them now, so
he's not. Okay. Yeah, but still, like,
what's the fanfare like over there? Like, what do people think about hockey over there? Have you guys talked about it at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little different. I mean, it's not as crazy about those guys had regular jobs too, so
so it's
a little
like
different. Okay. Yeah,
because I honestly had never heard about the Asian Hockey League. I'm like intrigued by that, knowing like, is that another avenue? We were talking like, let's say you couldn't make it in the Western Hockey League or the European League or whatever. Is that another avenue. That
Probably not.
It's like, no, because like you said, these guys are working the shift before they get to work, and they're doing like.
Well, you never know. Like some guys are, when they get kind of to a certain spot in their career, or where they kind of just they're like, I want a new experience. Like your dad, he's probably an adventurous guy. He just want to see what it's like. And I imagine living in Asia playing hockey would be a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a coach for like kids' summer teams. There's tournaments that he does, and I feel like he kind of just loves that side of hockey, and opportunity came.
So when you before you attended the Sabres prospect camp, you committed to the University of Vermont, the Catamounts in the NCAA, but before you signed your professional contract with the Sabres, did that forfeit your NCAA eligibility? Was that not the route you wanted to go? I'm curious.
Always was the plan to go to college.
It was.
Yes. I was dead set on it. I had before that I had offers from the Q to go, but I was dead set. My grandma always wanted me to go to college, so I was dead set on it. Then Sabres kind of gave the deal, and it was a lockout year, and it was pretty much promised that I'll play in the A. They said I'm not going to go to the WHL, so I mean, there was a chance I couldn't kind of turn down. If you get to play in the A at 18,
right?
Yeah,
who's going to turn that down?
I find that so fascinating. Like, I don't imagine that's a normal route for a lot of players in Latvia, is thinking about going to play American college.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned you went to Dubuque and you played for Jim Montgomery. How did you get there? Who scouted you? How did that whole thing play out while you're playing minor hockey in Latvia to now, Mom and Dad, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to the States. I'm going to play in Dubuque.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a long story, but there was this tournament back somewhere in Sweden or something, and there was this one team. It was like Europe Selects or something. And I was like, oh my God, like I want to play for them. So I just emailed the team and I was like, hey, how do I get on your team? And they're like, oh, you can't, buddy. What are you talking about?
Basically brushed off.
Right.
They're like, we can put you on one of the bottom teams if you want to come over, play a tournament. So I came play a tournament in Rochester and Buffalo, actually, when I was 14. And I played really well. And then I played a couple of tournaments for the better teams.
Yep.
It was like West Coast Selects and the Europe Selects. And the people that were with that organization, his name was Dennis Himes. He kind of brought me over. He owned, or was the GM of the team in the Empire Hockey League and Eastern Junior League back then. So he asked me if I want to go to Burlington, Vermont to play. So I spent
What did you know about Vermont?
Nothing.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I went to Vermont last year. It's a beautiful place, but man,
there's the connection with the UVM. I played my first year in Burlington, and I loved it there. And I had close relationship with the UVM, and that's why I committed there too.
So, Greg, when I was kind of looking through these stats, and I see you're in Dubuque, and then you ended up playing for the Green Mountain Juniors?
Yeah, that's the team. That was before the Dubuque.
Okay, so this is what kind of jumped out at me right away was, so you're playing junior hockey, whether it's in Canada or the States, you became a captain of your junior team, which I just found very odd because, if you're a young player.
Yeah, that was in Dubuque.
A Euro become, that's right. Kind of like the terminology of junior hockey player. A Euro becomes the captain. I think I don't know of any circumstance I played in the WHL of a European player coming over 2 years later becoming the team captain. What was it that you felt like you were in leadership? It just felt like really natural to you being in North America, or just it was a good fit right away?
No, yeah, definitely. They teach us English back home at an early age, so I knew English a little bit. My first year in Burlington, definitely didn't speak much. Mm-hmm. Then Dubuque, I actually went to high school there. So I got brushed off on English way better that year. And being the captain as a European is definitely
it's
a little tough.
In the NHL, you see it all the time, but at the junior levels, it's something.
No, I definitely led more by example rather than being the voice in the locker room. But it was definitely a big honor to be a captain of the team that year.
So what were you going to go to school to study if you were going to go to a 4-year university?
I have no idea.
That's
a great question.
Is there any inkling to want to ever?
No, I was good with numbers when I was younger. So, I probably would have pursued something that way. Yeah, financing or something.
Do you remember who you scored your first NHL goal in the Sabres season opener back in October of 2013. Do you remember who you scored against?
My first game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Howard.
Of course.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I'll remember that. It was at Joe Louis, so it was definitely one. Those are kind of the core memories that you're not going to forget. If you ask me about the rest of the goals, no idea.
Well, let me ask you, you had another key goal back when you were in the Olympics, 2014 Olympics, where you were playing for Latvia and you were playing against Sweden. Do you remember who you scored?
I mean, that's pretty. I only had one goal, so and Sweden, you gave it away. It was Lundqvist.
I mean, those are pretty big names to be, getting some milestone goals against. I mean, that's pretty awesome. You also played in the World Championships for Latvia 2013, 14, 16, 17, the Olympics, the All-Star game we had mentioned in 2015. Do you remember? There were some Lightning players on that team. Do you remember?
Which one?
In 2015 when you played on the All-Star game? Stammer.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously.
You guess.
Drew Ann was in the rookie competition.
Oh, yeah, the young
if you
guns.
remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
And Tyler Johnson, but he was injured. He didn't actually play that game. But yeah, he was. There's just tied to the Tampa Bay Lightning right there. But again, you've been a part of globally massive events, which I think is an attribute to the success you've had. What do you attribute, though, to the longevity that you had in the Sabres organization? I mean, again, being with them all the way up until last year, 600 plus games. I mean, in this league, as you know, it's difficult to stay with one organization for that long. But what do you attribute your longevity to?
I mean, definitely the way I approach the game, the work ethic I put on the ice. I mean, I always believe you leave it out there every game and then you move on. That's how I approach every game. I just kind of go 100% out and then see what happens.
Z, I want to talk to you about your time in Buffalo. It's rare a guy plays over 600 games with the same organization. Your time in Buffalo, I'm curious how you thought it went. If you enjoyed living in Buffalo. You guys also, I think the time you were there, you had 5 different head coaches over the years.
Yeah.
Playoffs were kind of hard to come by.
A lot of GMs, a lot of coaches.
A lot of GMs, a lot of turmoil, a lot of kind of
turnover.
a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
So you come to a place like Tampa. We've had the same head coach. John Cooper's been the head coach here, longest tenured NHL coach.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just kind of compare and contrast between Buffalo and here. I was just curious and kind of maybe how you approach, you show up one year, new GM, new coach. 2 years later, new coach, new GM. What's that like?
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. I mean, that was probably the toughest part, all the changes. I mean, even just the teammates, how many I had was crazy amount, So that definitely was the tough part, but I got nothing but great memories of Buffalo. I mean, they were the ones that gave me the chance to play in the NHL, and I lived there such a long time. My daughter was born there, so it's always going to hold a special place in my heart, when you play that long for one team. But as comparing it, yes, it's definitely different standards here right now. As long how it goes with Buffalo, I think it was tough to set the standards because there was so much change throughout the years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
New guy comes in, he's got different vision, so they kind of kept getting shifted. So I think hopefully they're on better path now.
So I remember when I was going through the draft process, I was had to come into Buffalo for a pre-draft workout, before the combine kind of thing. And as I was coming into Buffalo, there was just this massive snowstorm. Like everything was shut down. And I know Buffalo's famous for this lake effect, right?
Yeah.
So like best Buffalo snowstorm story. You must have had a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, me and my wife, 3 years, for the past 3 seasons, we were the only ones that lived in West Seneca, which was the lake snow effect band.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we're the only dumb ones that decided to live there, So we had 2 years ago, we had twice it was over 6 feet at our house.
So your car is buried.
The snow was above my wife. It was crazy. I think we got stuck for 3 days. I had neighbors. The neighbors are awesome in Buffalo.
So 3 days you're
great
stuck in your
people.
house, or you guys
Yeah.
were
You can't get out.
You
You can't get out.
Go with 6 feet of snow. You have a snowblower. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's like you're sliding off your roof, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even purchase a snowblower, so I had all the neighbors helping me out, trying it out. And I mean, the traffic was bad. It was kind of crazy. But I mean, it's definitely an experience that you're not going to forget.
That is so cool. I had to ask you about that because it's just like, you hear the stories, you see the pictures sometimes in Buffalo.
No, yeah, you open the door and the snow is like up to your chest. You're like, okay, we're just gonna stay here.
I mean, you must have enjoyed it a little bit, though. I mean,
It's definitely a cool experience.
I was gonna say, are you now living in Tampa? Are you starting to see the complete contrast of like heat, constant heat, humidity? I mean, it's a culture shock coming.
I mean, full 180. We went from 6 feet of snow to right away in a couple hurricanes. Yeah,
right.
It was full 180.
That's right. This is probably the first time you've ever experienced.
Yeah, we had no idea what to expect.
Gosh.
The first one came, we kind of weren't. It won't be that bad, so just hungry. We actually went to sleep.
Yeah,
right.
Some guys got flooded, so
yeah, no.
thank God we had nothing.
Yeah,
we went to sleep. The next one we panicked a little bit. I bought some sandbags.
Okay, where do you guys live now? Are you over by where the
South Tampa?
Okay, so yeah.
Okay,
first true initiation to South Tampa is having to go get sandbags.
Yeah. So what about your decision to sign in Tampa? What you're going through the free agency process? It's the first time in your career.
Yep.
Why Tampa? What was attractive to you about this team and about the role and everything?
Definitely the culture the team has, the core players they have, the success they've had, the coaching staff. So I mean, everything that's here is built for success. So I would assume you guys know I never made playoffs with Buffalo. So I mean, that is kind of the goal. So
of course,
my goal was to come to a team that's capable of doing that. You know.
So again, your longevity, you've obviously had injuries through your years and you've overcome obstacles. What do you attribute your longevity to? And obviously you're still playing in the NHL at such a high level. How have you overcome and adapted those sort of situations?
You know, every player has its ups and downs. And I think throughout the years, mentally, you just kind of harden your mind on how to deal with all of that stuff. And you print out a page, I've had AA4 pages with injuries. So I think over the years, I just kind of learned how to deal with it because I was getting them all the time. So you just kind of get used to it. And I always think I'm going to get back at 100%, and I always have.
Amazing. So you're a dad now. You got 2 kids?
We got two kids. Almost 4 and 2.5.
All right.
Modeling now because, I mean, they're probably some of the best looking kids I've ever seen. I'm not even lying. They're absolutely, as soon as I saw them, like, is this a social media ad or no, those are his kids. Like, that's how good looking his kids are.
They take after their wife.
There you go.
I mean, look, but again, you just got to this organization this season. What would you say you've learned most about this group of guys that you're playing with right now?
Just the approach to the game, you know. I think the number one is how they play the game. They know the right way to play. I mean, we've had a couple of games where we slipped away from it, but it's that team success where everyone plays the right way and has one goal is to win a game.
I want to ask you about your chemistry because, you know, you watch certain players and there's been a lot talked about the chemistry between Cooch and Point and those guys and the chemistry they've played together for many years. Yeah. When I watch you and Glendenning, I feel like you guys have built up a chemistry really quickly. Can you talk about that connection you have with him?
Yeah, no, it definitely takes a little bit to get that chemistry going, and definitely at the start maybe it was a little tough to figure out what's he doing, what I'm gonna do, you know. But it's definitely growing, and I think we're very similar players, so it's pretty easy to understand. But yeah, I mean, chemistry is something that's great, as you said. Kucherov, Point, I mean, you see him out there, they're making passes that they don't even look. It's kind of crazy.
Does it still surprise you a little bit sometimes, like even in practice, like looking at what Cooch does?
Oh yeah,
like, I mean,
on the bench in the game, I would be like, wow, that's crazy.
I mean, it's cool to hear that from other players that look at him and go, like, what is he doing? Like, how does he literally have eyes in the back of his head to know that the guy's going to be coming up this side and he literally just behind his back? It's just, it's next.
I used to sit there and be like, yeah, I would have saw that. And then it's like, you get into the game and it's like, I'm going to dump this puck in the corner.
Yeah.
I do love that the fact, again, that you brought it up, that the continuity is starting to get there. You know, Glenny, Mikey, I mean, last night, obviously against Colorado, everybody, you know, got a point up on the board, you included. It's good to see. But I mean, we had talked to Julian many times on the show, and we've asked him many times, what is the realistic, goal for him to see when the continuity of this team is going to come together, and like, what's the realistic, number? Is it a few weeks? Is it a few months? Because again, you've got pieces to the puzzle that you have to kind of fit together and figure out which lines are going to work. But I think this is around the time Julian said, because the season starts in October. We're kind of mid-November right now. This is around the time, and I think last night's game was finally like where the eyes were open. Like, if this team's playing on all cylinders, this is what we are. And I think it's amazing to finally see that. And again, it had to feel good last night to see that Glenny's on the board, Mikey's on the board, everybody's in position, everybody's contributing.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a big thing off the chest. For Glenny, me, it's just easier to play after that. The confidence is a big part of a hockey game, and it was definitely a little before that offensively.
So Z, I want to ask you a little bit about your hobbies outside of the game. You see some guys are golfers, some guys are fishermen, some guys do, I don't know.
Well, he looks more like a beach guy.
He's a beach guy?
Yeah,
beach
looks
guy?
like he's
maybe he's a professional snowshoer or something like that in Buffalo. But
have you had time?
What's your hobbies outside the game?
To be honest, hang with the kids most of the time. Not a big golfer. I do like cars.
Like collecting cars?
No, like driving cars,
Okay.
and maybe when I'm done playing, I'll get into some racing or
Exotic
something.
cars, or more like old school cars?
Like F1, like
Yeah, like
kind
what
of
do you-
like
No, like all types of
motorsports?
cars. Cars in general.
Yeah.
If I could take my car to a track, I would. That would be my.
So what do you drive right now? What do you got?
I have a BMW M3.
Okay. He's a speedster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I don't have time with the
Okay,
kids
so-
and stuff.
Outside of kids and car seats and all that kind of stuff, unlimited budget. You're going to any dealership in the world. What are you getting? What's your dream car?
Good question.
My dream car that's too many avenues to go down.
Can you narrow it down? Let's see. Like I have my ideas. Like I am like a truck guy. I would probably,
Going old
like
Bronco or something?
I don't know, but like,
I probably would be
can't
buying
fit in
like
them.
6.
Okay.
I would be buying all
What's your
different.
handful of cars?
By probably the old school M3 would be E36,
You're okay.
E32, yeah.
Okay.
Those would be something I would get, but that's not breaking the bank.
What about Lambo, Ferrari?
Yeah, I would get them all if I had unlimited money.
So have you done? I know some guys have gone to Vegas, and there's like the track there. You can do the racing. Have you done anything like that? Have you been to the track racing?
Yeah, no, I've been actually. Our owner in Buffalo once took us out, and I think it was in Florida somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, I never really have. It's such a time-consuming thing that I never really had a chance. So I'm just waiting till I'm focusing on hockey, and then when I'm done, I'll start my hobbies.
Greg, I got a great idea though.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do like a little like Z's go-karting for charity, kind of thing. Like
I would love that. Like, where
Yeah,
you, it's
I
like
would
an
imagine-
I already looked up. There's one in St. Pete. Nice go-karts.
There is, yeah, yeah.
It's like serious. too.
Yes.
I remember going with my kids and just actually getting killed.
Whipped
And
by the
then
end
there's
of it.
like little kids that are just
Zipping.
ripping around.
Yeah.
These cars are fast.
They
These
are.
carts are fast.
It's a Grand Prix out there. I've been there before.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could do something like that to where you can do a charity event, and it's basically who has the fastest laps, and you go from there because everything is timed. Like, you have the legit helmets and the whole nine. I like that idea a lot, Kobe. Maybe we should look into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Z, about your stance on social media. We ask all the younger guys, the older guys. Everybody has a different spin on how they utilize social media. It seems like you, and again, as a professional athlete, you kind of use social media more as a glimpse into your personal life. Like, it's more about your family. It's more about you. It's more about your friends. Whereas like JJ Moser is wanting to be an influencer, and he's got a brand of his buddy. So do you really just kind of give us, is that really kind of what you use your social media for, is more just to kind of give a glimpse into the
Definitely not nothing too crazy. It's since the kids, I think most posts have been about the kids, it's more show off to friends and family, so you don't have to message everyone,
Right, and they can see
so
what
they
you're
can
doing
see
in your life.
actually
See, I mean,
stuff.
everybody uses differently.
Yeah, I don't try to overuse it. I'm not too crazy about it.
So you celebrated, I saw your 5th anniversary back in July with your wife. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
that'd
so
be correct.
I brought the trusty anniversary gifts by year, the traditional
Oh, man.
gifts. Do you know what technically you're supposed to give on the 5th anniversary to your wife? There's 3 different options.
Hold on.
Okay.
Something from wood.
He's right. Did you know that?
No way. I cannot believe you got that right.
Well, we obviously looked it up.
Okay.
Did you get her something?
No,
you whittled her something from wood. Yeah.
her mom gets us a present every year. That's with that. So that's why I knew it.
Knows. I knew there was something to it.
I knew it because of her mom.
Okay. There's also,
I don't follow that.
That is amazing.
That's the traditional is wood. Modern would be silverware. And if you want to go with a gemstone, it would be sapphire.
Wow.
I'm going to give this to you, Kobe. And obviously you need to have that more than
I
he
need that. I
does.
don't even know what.
That's
I'm
great,
not even going
though.
to say that, but I do know.
Yeah, but you didn't expect me to get that one right.
All right, so before we wrap it up, Z, because we do a segment called the Hat Trick, I was just curious because I had printed out the list of the top 10 Latvian hockey players of all time, and your name is on that list, so I'm going to take you off because your name's on it. Can you name any more of the top 10 Latvians of all time?
Sandis Ozoliņš.
Okay, that's one.
Artur Zirbe.
That's two.
What great style that guy had, by the way.
Oh,
Arturs,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Who would you say was your favorite out of those two? Arturs and Sandis.
Yeah. Well, who's your idol growing up?
I actually didn't have an idol.
No?
Yeah, it was kind of odd.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't watch too much hockey. I watch hockey, but
You were playing it.
back home you didn't see NHL too much too.
Oh,
So
I guess that TV,
you know,
they don't have TV
yeah.
back then. Yeah, it's totally different.
I think
They
once
had TV.
we had the Russian league, but it was like NHL would be different
Right,
times.
that's my
And
point. They're not
internet, I didn't have internet until
Yeah.
whatever age. It
Oh, I
was
get it.
different
I get
times.
it,
You
yeah.
know.
You probably watched a lot of like the senior league. Like
Yeah, in the
that-
World
that-
Championships, like the Latvian national team. As a kid, that was
Okay.
kind of like a big thing.
Okay, so you got Arturs and you got Sandis.
Okay, Carlos
Yep.
Kresnich,
Yep.
Sergei Zholtok,
Yep.
Helmut Spalders.
Yep.
How many I got there?
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including yourself.
by
Well,
points.
I mean, I have to
Yes.
go with Kasper Zdaugovic. He's
yeah.
not on there?
Yep, he's on there. There's 3 more.
Is it young guys or how old are we going?
these guys old or young?
No, that's a goalie.
That helps.
Scudra? I don't
Nope.
Yeah, Scooter's here.
Yeah. Scudra is there.
know.
I'll help you. Elvis
Elvis Merzlikins. He still plays.
and
Teddy Bluger.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
got them all. You and JJ, man, you guys are on it when it comes to your country stuff, brother. All right, moving on to the Hat Trick, powered by our friends at Highlight IPA. So these are 3 complete questions at random that were generated by AI, right? So these AI questions
That's
are
scary.
aiming
Yeah.
to spark deep insights and offer a compelling glimpse into the mindset, strategies, and challenges faced by professional hockey players, coaches, and staff. So what we need from you is to give us 3 numbers, 1 through 100, that mean something to you. It could be your kid's birthday. It could be your number. Like any 3 numbers, 1 through 100. Choose.
18,
Okay.
25,
Okay.
29.
Got it.
I always find that an interesting part with numbers of guys.
Yeah. What do they do? Yeah.
I'm like, now I know your cell phone code.
All right. Question 18. What do you value most in a teammate?
The sacrifice he's willing to do for his teammates.
Sacrifices?
Yeah, for the team in the game. It's kind of the game goes. It's a tough game, and when you see guys doing stuff for your teammates, where is it sticking up or blocking a shot or doing the right thing, I value that a lot.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So mine is pregame rituals. Do you have any?
Yes, I got one. I use new laces every game. That's definitely an odd
No
one.
matter
'cause
what.
No matter what.
And that's just
I know
like,
it's kind of
you
waste.
like the feeling, you like the look.
Yeah, I like the look, the feel. I don't even like practicing with old laces, but I have to because I would waste too many laces.
That's the perks of playing professional hockey.
I know.
right there.
I feel bad about doing it, but I gotta do it.
Okay. And the final question of the Hat Trick: how do you handle off ice distractions? Like if you're having a family issue or something negative happen before the game, how do you focus yourself to the matter at hand?
I think it just comes naturally. Once you get to the rink, everything kind of just fades away. You know, the problems. I always had it like that. It was always nice to step on the ice, and I feel like all the life problems disappear. So I think that just comes naturally.
It is amazing. Hockey has a wonderful ability to, when you step on the ice, only thing that matters is inside the glass, right? It's really
yeah,
cool.
it's definitely a different feeling that I feel like a lot of people don't get to experience. I don't know, for regular people, maybe it's going to the gym or
Right.
it just kind of tunes your mind out of the
It's
other
fascinating.
stuff.
It's fascinating.
This
Love
is
it.
cool. This is
Love it.
awesome. Thank you, man.
Thank you,
Really
Z. I mean,
appreciate it.
again, we know you guys have a busy, regiment, and we super appreciate you guys taking time to sit down with Kobe and I on the block party. And you were fantastic, man. Thank you
No,
so much.
thanks for
And,
having me.
We wish you nothing but success as we move through the rest of our season. And Bolts Nation, we thank you guys so much for tuning in to another awesome episode of the Bolts Block Party, powered by our friends at Highlight IPA. And we will see you again next week.